Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, friends. How you doing? Actually, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm freaking freezing. It's so cold here today. I say that full well knowing that it was, my parents were saying it was like -9 where they were yesterday. And I know we're not in the negatives right now, but like, goddamn. So I'm gonna put my blankie on, so just give me a minute to get sorted. How is everyone? What day is it today? Is it? It's Tuesday. Okay, yeah, how's everyone's weekend? I was like, have we already talked about this? No. How's everyone doing? I need to warm up my hands as well, hence being so cold. Before we start, continuing to make tiny things for our miniature, specifically this bad boy here, our Alice Tea Shop one. I decided to do something a bit different with the camera, so we'll see how it works. I actually manually zoomed it in instead of getting it to autofocus. So hopefully that'll make it so that you guys can see things, because I feel like last time we were making this and I felt like it was so difficult for you guys to see what was going on because everything was so teeny tiny. But hopefully now that will make it a little bit easier. So I did say that I was going to work on this over the weekend. I half did, I kind of did. So what I ended up doing was I sort of went through and basically Legoized the items. So I went through and got a bunch of little bags and essentially went through the kit. Because remember how I was complaining as well that the pieces for each individual component were scattered amongst different bags. They weren't all like, this project is in this bag and this project is in this bag. So I decided to actually do that on my own. So I got through and I went through and organized everything based on project. So hopefully that will make things a little bit easier moving forward. I think some of them, they were such small amounts, so I decided to just take it upon myself to still mix some of these things together, but for the most part everything is separated into each workable project. So today we're going to work on the dice, the street lamp, the display case, and the clock, and we'll just kind of keep going through the list and seeing how much we get done. You know what I mean? So let's bust these pieces out. I do think I did it's so cold. I pre-sanded these. Let me just find my little sandpaper again. Hopefully. I think it's in here somewhere. There it is, just in case. Because I think some of the pieces I didn't take the time and resand, but a lot of them I did. So we'll see how that goes. So, I'm trying to think what happened. What's been going on? I don't know if you guys remember, so last week there was a little piece that I assumed was a discarded piece of wood that I was using as sort of a drip tray for the glue to help it so that things were easier to assemble. It turns out that that was not a discardable piece. That is actually a piece that is used in the project. So luckily I was able to sand off the glue, and this piece is just acting as a base for the display case. So hopefully it won't look super awkward. But I was a little bit crap. So what I thought was a discarded piece, it turns out a lot of these pieces end up being reused as bases for other components. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I think I have some spare pieces now, but I think maybe I'll just use pieces of paper instead of other bits of wood for my scrap pieces to put glue on, because it turns out they could actually be an integral part of the project. Who knew? I guess this is why you're meant to go through and read and get all your components out and lay them out and do all that organizing. I did not do that, but that's fine. It's all good. Alright, so we need to attach all these pieces together. I assume it's just like that, and then we stick the other one on top. So we'll do the individual pieces. I have all my tools. I kept the needle and stuff, so I think we'll use that. I did notice that the glue that was like left over on this bottle is still like very tacky, but all good. Actually, before we get started, let me remind you guys what we made last week. So we made this beautiful display case that I think is going to be housing all of our tea when we finally construct the house, or the tea shop, sorry. And then we also have a little table, which is so freaking cute. These little stickers here were such a pain in the ass, but I'm so happy with how it turned out finally. And yeah, so that's what's going on with those. And so now, I think what some of these are some of like the little accessories that are going to go on in the larger display case. I think these ones specifically as well are also going to go on the like cabinet display case. You can see sort of here, we're making some of the components for that now. Okie dokie. Now let's remember how quickly this glue comes out. And try to be careful with it. Oh wow, I just realized I didn't have to put glue on that end piece. Whoops. Duh. Good, all good. Actually, what if I just like, there, we'll just remove that with our finger. Just make sure that that lines up. All of a sudden I was like, am I doing this correctly? No, I think so. It's fine. It's all good. So while this guy is drying here, because I think it actually might help stabilize itself if it was all attached while it was drying. That's my theory anyway. We'll see if that actually holds. If the theory holds up. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I think this zoom option is working quite well for us. So I fully intended today to nail out the keychains, or our giveaway keychains today. But I'll be totally honest with you guys, after I got back from my walk with Shadow, I had zero interest of going back out. Oh, I did it again. I put the glue on the wrong side. Damn it. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Let's just fix that real quick. Yeah, it was so stormy and gross out that I really didn't want to leave the house again. So my apologies, guys. But I will get them out by the end of the week. That is the plan. Okay, there we go. What happened here? There. Stick. We are covering this with the stuff, the actual die itself, dice images. So if this is like kind of messy, I don't think it's the end of the world, but it would help if, you know, I understood how this kind of stuff works And then this goes on top. And it seems like we just need to put the glue on these little sections. Hopefully that's enough. Come on. There we go. Cool. First box done. So we'll let this dry. And now let's do this properly. Make sure we're only gluing things on the sides we need to. Just doing this just so I get an idea. Okay. So this one is going here, which means we need to put glue on either of these, not on the little nub, because that's not necessary. I'm trying to think what happened yesterday. You know, and you're kind of like, what did I even do? Time is an illusion and nothing is real. Though I remember being quite productive. I had like, I don't know, stuff I needed to email people about and sign up and follow up and whatever. So I remember it being a productive day, but it just kind of whizzed by. I did, however, video chat with my parents, hence why I knew it was like -9 degrees there the other day. So that was good. We always do like our bi-weekly catch up. So we did that. They're doing well. We were also talking about their travel plans to come and visit and the sort of updates with our 3-year, to be fair, it's actually going on 4-year. Today it's actually the 4th month, like the 4th year Liam and I have been married, but we'll be having this wedding reception just before that. So yeah, so the long 4-year overdue wedding reception planning. So it's updating them on that, and sort of figuring out how it's gonna go. We're meant to be going to view the space, not this weekend, but the following weekend. We were meant to go this weekend, but we have some family stuff come up, so we're gonna be. So that was one of the productive things I had to do yesterday. Was I had to rebook the venue viewing. Sounds so bougie, but that's what I did. I also had to chase up about my prescriptions, because remember I told you guys I've been trying to renew shit for a while, and they're like, oh, you don't have access to this. And I'm like, okay, well, how else am I supposed to get at, like, because I usually order my repeat prescriptions online, and usually, like, there's no problem, but I've not been able to have access to my account for whatever reason, and I'm like, listen, what am I supposed to do? So and also the other thing that was annoying is I couldn't get a hold of my doctor's office either, which is typical. But one of the suggestions on the answering machine at the reception was calling your pharmacy and seeing if they could do anything about it. So thankfully last week I gave them a call being like, listen, this is what's up. I need to make sure I can renew these things, but I'm not able to get through either online or in person to the people I need to get this shit done. Are you able to help? And thankfully they were able to. So I have to go pick that up. So when I go and mail the giveaway winner prizes, I will also have to go pick that up, which is fine because it's in the general area. So that was also what I did yesterday. I gave them a call just to confirm whether or not they were able to process that, and they were, which is awesome. And then yeah, spoke with my parents, played some games, some video games. I'm super into Cook Serve Delicious 3 right now. So I got to play a little more of that, which is always a fun time. It's really good, like, because I enjoy good kind of story-driven point-and-click games, stuff like that, but because I don't game constantly, like, there's certain games I'll start and I'll get invested in them, and then I'll sort of, like, lose the plot, and then it's, like, to jump back in and, like, figure out the mechanics and figure out what you're trying to do and all that kind of stuff is a lot. So I don't know, like, this one's quite nice because it's sort of like little individual anecdotes. So you go in, you run a food truck, and basically you have different stops on the food truck, and you are prepping different foods. So you pick your menu before you go into each new stop, and you organize all of that. And that's nice because it's like you can play a couple levels and then take a step back, and like you've not, if I were to not play it for a while, then it would be okay, you know what I mean? So I'm quite enjoying that. So now we have to fold these. I'm always a bit wary about folding tabs on my own, so hopefully using the ruler will help. Oh, these are drying. The other thing I've been doing that I've gotten like super invested in, which is good because, well, good that I'm getting super invested, but good that it's this thing. So I've talked to you guys before about how I've discovered the type of anime that I enjoy watching is like slice of life found family anime, which is great, but all of the ones that I find on Crunchyroll are like just 12 episodes sort of manga adaptations, and they were like serialized sort of small things, and then that's it, they're done after 12 episodes, and then I have nothing else to I'm like, what? I want to keep existing in this space. Like, I don't understand what's going on. But luckily I've started watching this new one, which Crunchyroll keeps promoting on its platform, and it's also been like dubbed in a bunch of different languages. Like, there's a lot of heavy promotion behind it, which leads me to believe that this will be a long-running anime series, which is helpful because then it's more than 12 episodes, so I have more to watch. Afternoon, Pete. Hello. How are you doing today? Just talking about how I found an anime that's more than just 12 episodes long, so I'm very, very happy. I've recently ended on, I started the second season today, and I think they are like constantly adding new episodes, which is perfect. There are other ones that I do have on my to watch list, but it's nice that I actually have something. So yes, highly recommend Spy Family. It's like online, or not online, it's still like that found family. It's less slice of life, there's sort of like a larger plot, but it's basically about a spy who, in order to help protect, or like there's a secret mission he undertakes where he needs to basically become a father and have a child and a wife and all this stuff, so he adopts this child who also happens to be telepathic, but no one knows this. Like, she's been keeping it a secret, and then he needs to find this like fake wife in order to play like super happy family while he's trying to like overthrow this dissenter or something to stop like the potential war happening. It very much reminds me of like this sort of Man from U.N.C.L.E., this sort of espionage films and TV shows that sort of are inspired by the Berlin Wall and like the East and West sort of sides of things. And so it's fun and silly and found family, and it's great. Just doing some online training. Ooh, what are you doing your online training in? I know you were picking courses the other day, so is this the training from the courses that you were picking? And what did you end up choosing, and how's it going? But yeah, I am doing great. Shadow's doing great. He had a lovely birthday on Saturday. We went to the park in the morning, or the forest, with his grandparents. They met up with us there, and he had a big run around. Though I did feel a bit bad because I took him to the forest the day before, and I wanted him to have, that experience a couple times in a row. But I think he went a little bit too hard both times, and so his legs sort of were seizing up once we got home, and he needed some leg massages. He was limping a little bit, so I think he overextended himself when we had gone out, but he really enjoyed it. And then they had bought him, so his grandparents bought him a new toy and some little treats, and they brought them to the forest. So they were giving him little Treatos and stuff throughout the day. And then we went back to our place and hung out. Before that, because Liam went out to hang out with his friends, like a bunch of the guy friends that we haven't seen in a long time. And so before he left, though, he gave Shadow his breakfast and put some extra ham in there and some little bits of bacon and just really bougie spoiled him. Now, how are we meant to display this? Like that, I think. Which was really sweet. And then we also got him this little package that came from Pets at Home that came with a little birthday cake stuffy, so a little birthday cake toy and a little badge that said it's my birthday. So when I took him to the dog park, he was wearing his badge, and it had little chew treats that were pizza shaped, so we gave him a couple little pizzas before we left. We still have some of the other little treats too, but yeah, he got a lot of little extra Treatos and things, which I think he really enjoyed. But the next day, his butthole wasn't happy with us. So his poops have been pretty solid for the most part, despite the fact that all throughout Christmas we were feeding him extra little bits and things. It was okay. But I think he got a little bit too spoiled. So his stomach was a little bit not happy with us the other day. But what we ended up, so because of this, we've held off. He has a little birthday cakey and a little milk thing that Liam got him as well, and we were gonna record singing him happy birthday and stuff like that, but I figured for the sake of his bowels, and also he's been letting out the stinkiest farts lately, so for the sake of that, we've decided to hold off on it. I don't know how long they last, but his gotcha day is in March, so we could maybe save them if it would last that long for that, or we'll just, do a little treat surprise later on. Going through the process of volunteering with St. John's Ambulance. That's amazing. Okay, yeah. That's really cool. That's amazing, Pete. It kind of reminds, so it's the online sort of training modules before you can volunteer. That's really cool. When I was back in my hometown, I volunteered with this, it was with the local authorities, and it was this thing called victim services. So basically when a crime had been committed or something had happened that required, the police being called or whatever, while they're doing their job, collecting evidence or doing whatever it is that they're doing, we then stay with the victims and talk to them and put them at ease and make them feel better while the police are off doing their investigatory part of their job. And I remember doing a bunch of different training before I started doing that, as well as in-class stuff. So you do things learning about, different safety protocols and learning about how to support certain different types of people and all that kind of thing. So that's really awesome that you're going to be doing that. So the toy that his Shadow's grandparents got him is this snake rope, because he loves rope toys. He plays tug of war, but kind of doesn't really play tug of war. What he'll do is he'll hold the ball or hold the thing that he wants you to play tug with, and he'll pull for a little bit, but then he almost like pushes himself into you, so you have to do all of the pulling, and he just kind of holds on to it. So every once in a while, he'll like get a little bit of pep in his step and he'll actually try to pull back, but usually it's a lot of you moving the toy around. It was really funny. My brother-in-law realized that and like made a comment where he's like, playing with Shadow is more of a workout for you than it is for him, because it's like usually dogs will do all the tugging and do whatever on their own and you just kind of have to hold it and they tire themselves out. But Shadow wants you to do all the work, so then you end up getting more tired than he does after it all, which is really funny. But yeah, we were playing with it yesterday because his favorite toy, I've told you guys about this, is his rope ball. So it's the one where if he has it in his mouth and all the strands, like the rope strands are out, he kind of looks like Cthulhu in my mind. So that's his favorite toy. But he did play with that snake and then a little bit with his birthday cake toy as well. Because it's like crinkly and squeaky and soft, so it sort of covers all of the sensory bases. But it was really cool. But yeah, so we tell him now, you know, we're like, oh, you're a big boy, you're 2 now. You know, you can't be doing X, Y, and Z. You know, you gotta be an upstanding doggy citizen. But you know, you and I both know that he is forever going to be my baby. If anything, he's like more of a baby now. Maybe he's going through his like terrible 2s, even though that's more of like a 6-month-old puppy thing. But he's still full of sass, just as sweet as ever. He's currently sleeping in the bedroom right now, having a snooze. We had a little nap earlier today. That's one of the things we did today. I was doing a bit of reading because I have this like bullet journal that I neglect. Every once in a while I'll put new stuff in it. So I've decided, I made a little chart, and my goal is to try to do at least 2 of these 3 things every day. And that's craft, game, so play the video games that I have that I neglect, and read. Because of course I have tons of books and I never read. I'm usually on my phone or watching TV or something like that. So I'm trying to put more of an effort in. So I made this like bullet journal list to try to motivate me to check off every time I do those different things. So I did a bit of reading today, but then I got a little sleepy, so then me and Shadow had a little snooze on the sofa. And then, yeah, other than that, we went for our W today. It was in the pouring rain. It wasn't like super pouring, it was like enough though. I didn't need to put glue in the center because this is hollow. Why did I do that? Anyway, but Shadow's been liking going for these like extra long walks around town, but I was not in the mood to be subjecting myself to that while it was raining. So at one point, you know, because he's like 27 kilos, like he's a big boy, he just stopped and wanted to go in the direction of the longer walk, and I was like, absolutely not, sir. So we kind of had a bit of a standoff in the rain trying to get him to move forward. Luckily he did, and we eventually completed the walk with no issue, because I was like, sir, we are not going for an hour-and-a-half W in this pouring rain. Absolutely not. And it's weird because usually he doesn't like the rain, but I guess it was like not pouring hard enough for him to be like, this is garbage, whereas I was like, this is garbage. There we go. First dye done. Let that dry a bit more. Let's do the second one. I have a feeling, because these are all quite small and because I've prepped all of these, I'm hoping that we'll just zoom through them all. But we'll see. So I think a lot of these are like the little accessories, and then the next sort of big thing is the display case where these dice are gonna go. But first we gotta make all the little bits and bobs that go in them. But hopefully listening to calming cinematics today, so we'll see how that goes. Every once in a while, I feel like their interpretation of what calm means is different than what my interpretation is, but that's alright. Oh, just realized that this lamp is tilted. Stay. There you go. Cool. Whew. Oh yeah, in addition to celebrating Shadow's birthday on this Saturday. So it's actually this Sunday. I've been invited over to our good friend Saul's channel for a collaboration on the Sunday, I think it's I don't know if it starts at 8 or 7:30, but it's Sunday evening. And it's a karaoke transformation competition show. Apparently it's based off of the show, I think it's called Stars in Your Eyes. It was like a game show in the UK. So he's doing his version of it, which he's calling Stars in Your Mouth, because he's a comedian. And so he's invited me to participate in it, but in order to help with lag and stuff on the live show, he asked us to submit our musical performances in advance. So to record us singing a karaoke track to a song, and then submitting that in, and then when we're doing the live show on the Sunday, we'll be there out of costume, but then he'll have the videos queued up of everybody performing. So I needed to actually do this performance. And I guess not the tricky part, but the part to it is because it's meant to sort of be like a transformation game show as well, I also needed to transform into the person I was attempting to perform as. And so that I started, what was it? I think it was like 3:30, 3 o'clock. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing and I'm gonna, get ready to go. And then I didn't stop. So between putting all the makeup on, getting in costume, getting ready and doing, a bunch of takes and deciding which one is the best one, that was from 3 to 7. So it took 4 hours. So it wasn't something I was just going to quickly zip up, do whatever. But I'm really, really excited for it. So it would be really cool if you guys could check out. I'm sure he'll be posting more on his channel about it leading up to it. But it would be really cool if you guys would check that out. I'm really excited to hear and see what everyone else has done. So I'll drop the hints or whatever. So I decided to transform into Amy Lee from Evanescence, and I actually bought blue colored contacts, and it honestly, it was the trippiest thing and then luckily I found there's actually quite a few makeup tutorials. So I'm just talking about you. Good afternoon. Aw, thank you so much for the sub. The resub for many months. Thank you. How are you? I was just talking about how I spent my Saturday recording my submission to your musical game show. Is it Stars in Your Mouth is the official title of yours this Sunday. So I was talking about how by the time I transformed myself, did the recordings a couple times, picked the one I thought was the best, it took me about 4 hours. So I'm really, really excited to see what everyone else has done. Yes, Stars in Your Mouth. Here, let's do this. If you guys aren't already, so you know what's going on. Really? Well, then by default I'm the winner, right? If no one submits their stuff before, they have a few days, wasn't it? They have until Thursday to finish submitting, so they better get their shit together. But yeah, guys, this Sunday, I wasn't sure, is the actual show, is it starting at 7:30 or starting at 8? Because I can't remember if you're telling me to be there at 7:30 or if it starts at 7:30. But it's going to be so cool. And hopefully everyone steps up to the plate and actually submits their stuff, because I really want to see them and hear them, and I'm very excited. But yeah, luckily I was able to find quite a few starting at 8 p.m. Perfect. Okay, excellent. So yes, guys, this Sunday at 8 p.m., go visit Saul's channel and see me transform myself into Amy Lee from Evanescence. Oh, okay. Ooh, all of your... Hey, that's gonna be cool too. Do they all have different singing preferences? You know, do your characters have different like favorite genres? You know what I mean? So like one of them is like super into opera, so we're gonna get like an opera transformation. Someone's gonna be like Pavarotti, and someone's gonna be like, I don't know. Any of your characters gonna do like a Britney Spears or a Christina Aguilera? Part of me kind of low-key wants everyone to drop out, so I just have so many different versions of Saul to compete with. But I also think then I will surely lose, because your characters are full of life and personality. Okay, let's... do this. Yeah, I was able to find quite a few makeup tutorials that were attempting to recreate the music video look from Going Under. So I tried my best to recreate that with the addition of the blue contact lenses. And so it's not 100%, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I managed to it was funny because on this Sunday I spent the day cleaning my makeup brushes, because by the time everything was all said and done, I was like, I can't be asked to clean all of this. I used almost all of my makeup brushes, and I don't have that many, but it was enough that I was like, I need to sort this shit out tomorrow. So then I spent the Sunday cleaning all of them because they were caked in who knows how much makeup. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very pumped. I'm very excited about it. I'm also very excited about these tiny dice. But yeah, how are you? How was your weekend, Saul? What have you been up to? How are tings? You played D&D this weekend. How'd that go? How's your frog character doing? He looks incredible, by the way. That's over on someone else's channel, right? What is the current valiant battle you are all undertaking? If you don't mind me asking. My brother and sister-in-law have been doing some one-off D&D campaigns at their friends' houses. Should ask them what their characters are. That's right, Archie's a bit of a coward. So on epic battles concluded. The frog's name is Archie as well. That's incredible. You're like, guys, I can see that you all have it handled. I'm gonna go make a snack. BRB. To be fair, that's how I would probably be. Or I always know when I play Archibald St. Clement. Very nice. Whenever I play those sorts of Final Fantasy-esque games and you have to pick certain characters, I always end up picking the long range either healers or magic users. I'm like, I don't do hand-to-hand combat. I'll be doing the pew-pews from over here. So I don't blame Archibald for wanting to get away from battle. There we go. See, I knew better than to just stick glue all over the center like I did last time. Boom! 2 little dicey dice. Just need to get that to dry a bit more. There we go. Check, check. Oh, here we go. Okay, dice, check. Let's check them off the list. Next is so my character is a rogue. He doesn't attack and fights. He uses it. Oh, okay. It's NPCs to do. Oh, interesting. Absolutely. He's more of a quick wit. Yeah, it's a whole kit. So we've started, and this is the whole kit that we're going to be doing. So we have many a tiny thing to create today. So next is a teeny tiny street lamp. See where all of these pieces live. So what I did over the weekend, because I was talking about this last week, how all of the pieces for each component were sort of separated amongst different bags. And we were saying how, like, you know, when you put together a, yeah, it's you tooting your own horn. You'd look quite dapper as a silly little rabbit. But yeah, so basically all of the pieces that you needed for certain items were all dispersed amongst different bags. Whereas when you get Lego, they're like, these are the different sections. So like this section is this whole bag, this section is this whole bag. So over the weekend I went through, popped all the pieces out and organized them more specifically into their own individual things. So that was the plan. And we did that. Ooh, glue on the frame. Think we might need to be using the tweezers now. We will use the tweezers. So that one goes in here. Glue this along the reference line. So the reference line is actually on part of the building. So we're actually not supposed to attach that to anything yet. So we're only half making this. At what point do we... I'm gonna make sure I don't lose that piece then. Because the street lamp goes... Where does it go? Yeah, it goes on the side, so we need to make sure that we hold on to that little end piece. Interesting. Okay, let's hope we don't lose that then. Okay, let us prepare the tweezers. So that is going to go in there like that, I believe. So, just lining it up because I don't want to start putting the glue down and then be willy-nillying all over the place. And I just yeeted that somewhere. Where did it go? Uh-oh. Doesn't help that I'm wearing all black. Oh dear. Oh, there it is. Woo! That was scary. Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry to hear that the last few days have been stressful. How come? Is it in preparation for your event? Because I know you put a lot of you put a lot of time and effort into things, so I'm sure it's a lot of brain power. But Yeah, my weekend was good. It was Shadow's birthday on Saturday. So I took him to the forest with his grandparents to have a big old run around, and then they came back to ours and they gave him a new like snake toy, which was really cute. And Shadow then had a big old snooze, but before that, because Liam was out with some friends today, or that day, and so before that, Liam got up with him, made him a bougie breakfast with some ham and some bacon in his breakfast, which he doesn't normally get, and then we had these like little, this little treat pack from Pets at Home that had, like a little birthday toy in it, and it was like a little birthday cake treat or toy, sorry, and some little like pizza looking treats and a little birthday badge that said it's my birthday on it. And yeah, he had a great time. So then when we went to the forest, I made sure he was wearing his birthday badge. No one wished him a happy birthday though, which was rude, but Afternoon, Aurora, how you doing? Okay, let's hope that sort of kinda maybe. We're currently gluing a street lamp. Yeah, I think they did. Though, the next day, their bowels were not too pleased with all of the extra yummy treats that they got. So we also had like a little cake and some like special milk to give to Shadow, but we were like, we're gonna hold off on that and wait till his stomach settles. It wasn't too bad. It was just like, I didn't want to have to be responsible for cleaning up poo explosions during our morning W's. That was all it was. Okay, so we need to wait for that to dry. Where did the... Oh, I almost lost the other piece. So you just missed it, Aurora. We like accidentally yeeted part of it onto the floor, and I got a little bit scared, but it's fine now. It's all good. Yeah. Yeah, you helped. You've been a big help right now, Swell. Okay. We should wait for that to dry a little bit. Yeah, honestly, I need to get really good at not holding on to these a bit, like, too tightly. Be bad news bears. Okay. Okay. We gotta intricate work. Ooh, what does it say on the mug? Let me check. It says... Saul is the very best person in the whole wide world. No, it says, even though that's true, that's not what it says on the mug. It says, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. There's your Tuesday motivation today, guys. Always look on the bright side of life. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. That's essentially, this is like the bougie mug version of the Monty Python song. Yeah, right? Absolutely. Where do you get one of those mugs? Do you imagine? Custom mugs. Saul is number one. Ooh. Okay. Intricate. Do you actually? No. I think I did notice it was the bright side, but I always assumed it was just like a sun reference. But that actually makes a lot of sense. I did assume that Monty Python would be huge for you in terms of like comedic inspiration. But I had no idea that you sang that song at the end of every special stream. That's incredible, and I love that so much. Look at that. See? Just kindred spirits we are. I haven't watched a Monty Python thing in a long time. My brother went through a phase. He was absolutely obsessed with Monty Python and the Holy Grail, to the point where, like, he got a special edition DVD set that had, like, the entire script booklet. And then we went to go see Spamalot, and one of the merch was the, like, evil rabbit. I wonder if he still has it. It was called the Cesspit. That's fair. But yeah, big Monty Python buffs. Not all the Monty Pythons. Like, I've seen, what's the other one? Like, Life of David or whatever, and some of the Flying Circus, but not to the extent. It was, like, mostly Holy Grail in our family. 'Tis but a flesh wound. We did a lot of that. Oh, and the amount of, like, niching we did. Life of David. Is that what I called? Oh, it's Life of Brian. You know what it is? Because I was thinking biblically, because David, I know it, like, sort of takes place around that time with, like, Jesus and stuff, so I associated it, but yes, you're right. Life of Brian. Okay. That looks even enough. Probably hold this for a bit. Wait for it to dry. That's fair. Right? See, the logic checks out. Just because it wasn't accurate doesn't mean it doesn't check out. But yeah. The Knights of Ni. But yeah, we used to knee all over the place. Tis but a flesh wound. That was another one. Oh, and then the coconuts. We used to do that all the time. Where does this sit? Probably along the edge here. Can you whistle, Saul? I feel like that, that was one of the kickers with me and my brother when we would try to sing that song, because we can't really whistle. And so it would only ever go so well. Yeah, absolutely. I love it because I feel like it's like parodies of comedies. Is that like, that's like in too deep, you know what I mean? That's like comedy Inception. That's like too many layers deep. Oh, very good. Oh, the whistle's built in. That's fair. Oh, Meatloaf whistles? That's amazing. I love it. I used to, you know what it is? When I was younger, I used to be able to whistle, like, not too bad. It wasn't, like, incredible. My dad, like, he used to be able to do that thing where you could, like, stick your fingers in your mouth to, like, make the whistle go really far. And I remember him always, I wonder if he still does it. He hasn't done it in years because he's not needed to, like, whistle very loudly to, like, get our attention and stuff in a long time. But I wonder if he can still do it. But I used to be able to whistle, and then I got braces. And it made my teeth all nice and straight, but it, like, ruined my ability to whistle. Like, changed the shape of my mouth, I guess. Sad times. So I got straight teeth, but an inability to whistle. Very sad, but you know. The toss-up of what might be more important. To be fair, considering most are technically not. Straight teeth isn't necessarily important, but... only if it causes, like, tooth problems, I think. Okay. I'm just gonna hold this for a little bit. We can't lose this tiny little piece. So, I guess we'll stick it back in here. Because I'm concerned that if it just stays on the table, it's falling into the ether somewhere. Okay. So we now have 5 tiny items. We have the chest of drawers. Not a chest of drawers, a display cabinet. That is the first one. We have our beautiful table. Our 2 dice. Small dice, mini dice. Expert, yeah. Yeah, not too bad. And then our lamppost. Little, there we go. Teeny tiny little lamp. Hopefully, if I just leave this on the table, hopefully that should be fine. That's the thing, like, until you make all these teeny tiny things, and then the teeny tiny things need homes, and we haven't constructed the homes yet. So it's a little bit unnerving. Okay, so this is the bullshit I was talking about earlier. So, do you guys remember this piece of wood that I assumed was a throwaway piece because we took the 3 little nubbins out of it to make these? And I was like, oh, this is a throwaway piece, so I will use it as a place to stick glue when I'm trying to, you know, do extra things and whatever. So this is actually part of the kit. So this wasn't a scrap piece of wood. So luckily it's only going on the bottom of a thing. So I don't think it really matters, the fact that there's like glue and stuff all over it. I tried my best to like sandpaper it off, but it's basically acting as the base for our display case. So I think it'll be fine. We'll see. I'm also scared because we're using the transparent sheets for the first time, and so I've cut them out, but then you have to like take the protective layers off of it. So I don't know, we'll see. I think this is gonna be the more challenging of the tiny creations. You watch this shit unless I'm trying to sleep. See, I'm glad you were able to watch the whole thing, but also, sir, you need to get some sleep. I don't know, was I just so entertaining that you just couldn't stop watching? Or is it that you were suffering from such bad stress-related insomnia that you needed someone to keep you company while you were unable to sleep? Eh? Which one was it? Okay. So, apparently, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Fair enough. I respect that. Okay, so we need to glue the paper to the thing. And so once this is made, I'm pretty sure, where is this living in the grand scheme of things? Yeah, so this lives on the table. So I feel like if the gluey bottom should be on the bottom, because it's gonna get glued on again. You excelled at both. Excellent. I'm glad. I'm glad I kept you company and also lulled you to sleep at the same time. Those are my goals. Those are my wants. Let us create teeny tiny display case. But yeah, see, there's all these like little transparent windows, and apparently there's like protective layers on both of the sides. So we need to remove that to make it pure transparent, I guess. What is this piece? I have to go on the back. Right. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. I actually downloaded this this app the other day, because usually I like to think that I don't have this problem of like checking my phone while I'm like trying to focus and work on stuff, but I'm also a sucker for like cute shit. So there's this app called Forest. I had to pay for it. I think it was like £3 or something like that, where it's an app that you like grow trees while you focus, And so the longer you like do a task and focus without looking at your phone, the more like trees and stuff that you grow in your like little focus forest. And it's really fun. And it also motivates me not to look at my phone because I want to like make a really cool forest. I'll show you guys my forest. So it's this little app. And so you do the little focusy things, and then you have like a little forest. So today I was reading, and so I grew a little bush. And then if you see like this week, because I started, here's like my little forest. So there's some trees and some bushes and this like fancy little water fountain. The only thing though is you collect little coinages when you like succeed at doing stuff, and then you can unlock different trees. So I really want to save up because there's like a little witchy mushroom and a little like spooky ghost mushroom. So I want to have like a little cute spooky little forest. But how much is this? It costs, here, you unlock them at the store. See, it costs 1,200 gold or whatever, and I have almost 200. So there's a long way to go to unlock some of these. But I figured, I don't know, just as a way to do something cute and fun, but also to focus. Again, because like I said, I want to do more reading, I want to do stuff. And I do find that sometimes I get, I don't know if it's bored or like I'm so used to checking my phone or like taking breaks, even though it's like I don't really need to. I also have stuck timers on my social medias. So Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, I've put like an hour a day block, which feels like a lot, but also the amount of times they've been like, you've reached your limit. And I'm like, how have I spent an hour on this? So I'm trying to do more things that are not that. Okay. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing lately. Cool. So paper on the salvaged wood. Then we must glue the tiny saucers. And then we will glue the tiny cups. Did you see these? Look at these. The teeny tiny little saucers. And then there's teeny tiny little cups with little flowers. They're so small. So tiny. So teeny tiny. They're not even like a centimeter big. Like they fit in the little cubes. Okay, I want to get, I think the easiest thing might be to put the blobs of glue on the card and then attach these. I feel like I don't trust these tweezers. Maybe. We'll see. I saw a black saucer the other day. Was it a teeny tiny one? That's so funny. Ah! Glue everywhere, hopefully. Hate these little glue strands. Okay. Let's get rid of that. It's okay, that'll be the back. We won't see that part. It was the teeny tiny pieces when it landed. Yeah. These kind of look like eyes. Like, you know when you sometimes see like pixel art owls? This kind of looks like if it was like a pixel art owl. Where it's like, here's the square head of the owl, and here are its eyeballs. I know that like pixel art means that this wouldn't be a perfect circle, but listen. You guys know what I mean. Hopefully these are together enough. Boop boops. This is quite epic sound. The calming cinematics, eh? Okay. Let those dry. Add the teeny tiny dollop of the glue for the cup. Do we want the cups to both face the same way? I think so. Cup 1. Yeah. Sorta, kinda. Maybe? Sort of, kind of, maybe? So you can see that. There we go. Why is it that teeny tiny things are so freaking cute? It's so freaking adorable. Anyway. Okay. So now we're on to this, I don't know, the scary part. I know, right? It's wild to me how detailed these things are. So we're gonna stick those off to the side, and then...
It's tea time.
Oh, thank you, Kat! Good morning! We're drinking Earl Grey, because this is one of the selections in our tea shop. We have little tiny tea boxes that we have to fold later. Okay. So now we need to glue the transparent sheets. And allegedly there is tiny film on these we need to get off. Even busy. Yeah, it's your busy time, isn't it? Oh. Okay. First tiny film has been removed. Oh geez, I'm gonna get fingerprints all over this. Ha geez, Scoob. Don't mind you. Oh, guys, sorry, I'm scandalizing you. I'm scandalizing you with my naked nails. The scandal and the drama. I did have sparkly rose gold nails, but I got rid of them because I felt that Amy Lee from Evanescence wouldn't have sparkly nails when I did my transformation video on the weekend, and just have not had a chance to paint them again. So I apologize. The scandal that I am putting you all through with these naked nails. My apologies. Yes, and throw a wrench and things with the credit card. Oh no! Ugh, that's so frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna continue to hold this, and I will use the glues, just because I don't trust. Like, look at the. Oh, it's like totally clear. I don't want to mess this up. Whoa! Did you guys see that? Oh shit. Okay, cool. Now there's dog hair in this. Whoops. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Okay. So, using the tweezers in that moment wasn't a good idea. It's all good. All good, we fixed it. It's true, right? I guess, you know, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully I can get rid of these glue strands. Or, you know, maybe I can't, and that's fine. Okay. First one done. Glue the boards. Okay. Hi, Kay! Good morning! The teeny tinies are going well, aside from the fact that I keep accidentally yeeting the teeny tiny pieces all over the stream area, and luckily we've not lost anything yet. Knock on all the wood. Knock on the teeny tiny wood that we don't lose anything. But it's going well so far. We're just attaching transparent sheets to bits of wood and hoping for the best. So far, so good. I'm actually like amazed at the clear thingies that are covering this transparent stuff. Oh, just gotta get the second piece off. That's the thing, they're so well attached that I didn't even realize that there was something on here. Now we have to get this one off without... Hello. Tiny film. Can you come off, please? Oh no, that's the worst. Was it like a little stud? Did you lose it at your house? So hopefully it'll be there when you go home. Okay, how? There we go. Get. There. Ah! Come on. Stuck. Aw, capybara stud! Aww. Oh, at the office too, that's so annoying. I hope it comes out. That sounds cute. That means your capybara doesn't have its other capybara friend. That's so sad. I can't think about that too much. It's gonna make me sad. Just a lone capybara on cat's head looking for its mate. So sad. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully it turns up. But yeah, it's harder when it's at the office because it's like, I don't know, there's more bodies and more stuff to potentially... I found this set on Etsy, so I just bought some new ones. That's good. Oh, at least they still have some. I know sometimes it'll be like, you know, limited edition, whatever, whatever. So I'm glad you could get some new ones. But yeah, that still sucks. It's probably in someone's shoe. Yeah. Oh no! Oh no! Got a glue smudge on it. Get out of here. Oh wow. Is this the front? It's the top of the case. I think there'll be stuff on the top of the case, so it's fine, guys. It's fine. Let's just pretend that I didn't glue smudge all over it. That's good, yeah. Mmm. Yeah, they're sort of those things that, like, they're cute and you want to wear them, but they sort of, you can only really wear them for, like, a limited time. Come on, glue strands. Get out of here. It's all good. All good, all good. Okay. Number 2! And then, now we're going to attach these all together and hope that I don't get more glue all over the transparent films. Because I can definitely see that happening. It's fine. It's all good. It's fine. Ha 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 ha! Can confirm. Absolutely. I appreciate that reframe, Kay. You're like, they were just so excited looking at the teacups that they breathed all over it, and that's why it's smudged and fogged up. I like the way you think. I like the way you think. Whoop. Have you done any more needle felting recently, Kay? I know you had gotten that kit. I wasn't sure if that was just a one-off thing or if you had more kits. If you were gonna attempt more, you got the bug, you got the stabby stab bug, and now you want to do more stabbing of the wool, you guys. Come on. Go! Another set of transparent films removed. Jeez. This music makes me feel like I'm like a spy and like a crime caper. Feels like very high stakes. This is like Mission Impossible style music. Whoop. I'm gonna cut somewhere. Oh. Oh, cute! A blending board. That's amazing. Yeah, that's something I need to invest in as like a better way to combine and mix threads. So this one was a little bit big, so hopefully that doesn't, you can like see it popping out a bit there. Hopefully it doesn't mess with our construction. If not, we're gonna have to go in with the X-Acto knife and like maybe cut a little bit off. We shall see. That sounds really cool, the blending board. Okay, there we go. One more, and then we assemble. Right? Absolutely. You're like, step 1, create. Step 2, figure out what you want to do with that later. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, final panel. All the tiny glue strands. Okay. I do believe. I do declare. That. So we've had some glue sort of spillage out this side, but not much we can do about that. I feel like from a distance, you're not really going to be able to see those things. I always forget everything is so small. So obviously when you're building stuff, you're like staring at it and you're like, this is too much. This isn't going to work. And then it's like, it'll be, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's not going to be as noticeable once everything gets glued together. Okay. So we need to glue the boards together. And then believe. And that goes on the back. This goes on top. Okay. Okay. Let's attempt the glue process. So this is the front. And so we're gonna glue and hold. Hopefully that's enough glue. One of those where I know it's gonna look hella cute when it's all done, but like while it's being constructed, I'm like, oh my god! Okay, might as well do the other side. Other side as well. Listen. Any sudden movement, I'm like, ah! It's all good. And then this back piece. Now, does it slot in or does it go on top? I think it slots. Maybe? Can't really tell. This part goes on top of that. Oh no, it goes, yeah, it goes on the front. Do I? Okay, cool. Cool. Huh. It'll be interesting because I think some of these pieces are very similar to like the dice, for instance, that didn't take very long for some of them to come together, but then other ones like this that are many more tiny pieces, it takes that little bit longer. But I do think, I don't know, it's like hard to tell like in terms of the timeline of like how long this is all gonna take to build together. I'm not like stressed about it, or I'm not like, you know, I'm just enjoying the process and things, but I just get curious of like, oh, is this gonna take us, you know, all month? Is this gonna take us a couple of weeks? Like, who knows? We'll find out together. Before I put the teacups in, I want to try to go in with the tweezers and see if I can't get some of the little glue stragglies out. Because once that shit's sealed up, we can't go back in there. That's our little display cabinet. Let's go in just to make sure. Not that I can really see anything from here. Yes, I've read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and I've read Alice Through the Looking Glass. I've not read some of the other ones. Like, I know Lewis Carroll's done a few other different, like, poems or different, like, books and things like that, but I did the main ones. I read them in high school. I had, like, an annotated version of them that, like, went into all the detail and history of, like, which characters might be inspired by different characters throughout history and stuff like that. The thing that I find the most fascinating, though, about Alice in Wonderland is not necessarily, like, the original books. It's the fact that, like, the world has, like, inspired so many people to do different takes on it. Like, I really enjoyed, I haven't completed it, but I've watched playthroughs of most of it. The American McGee's Alice, which is, like, a horror-based version of Alice. I've read some different books that sort of take place in the Wonderland world but are a little bit different, like are kind of more steampunky, and the nations in this book were inspired by like the different decks of playing cards and stuff like that. Oh, did they actually? I didn't realize it spelled his name wrong in the credits. I do know though that that film originally flopped, the cartoon version, and obviously since then it's become like a little bit of a cult classic. Yay! Almost a whole year now. That's wild. That's wild. Good afternoon, Noog Day. How you doing? Yeah, I never played the first one. I do have access to the first one. But you know what? I think it's because I felt so spoiled because I started with the second one, American McGee's Alice Returns. And obviously there's such a jump in graphic quality that I just really struggle to go backwards. When I think it would be different if it was a one-off game and it was just that quality, but because I've played the original or the sequel first, I feel like I really struggle to get invested in the original one, if that makes sense. Which is a shame, but... Okay. So I don't know if this is meant to actually sit in here, and I've just made this a little bit too tight. Move this a tiny amount. I think my brother found a random download for me. I don't know if I still have it. There's like I think it was. I know he gave me a disc copy of the first one, or the second one, sorry. And I thought he managed to find me a copy of the original one as well. But I'm not entirely sure. I just remember playing it at one point. And I would assume it was him. Okay, yes, I do think it's all supposed to fit in there. Oh no! I'll have to take a look and see what I have. I'll do some digging for you. You enjoyed the Alice games as well, Nungday? Absolutely. Okay, I've popped this in here. Now I don't know if I can get it out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I can't remember because I know too. I think because it's an EA game, you need like a specific EA code in order to like activate it and stuff. At least I know that was what the second one was. So they got me like a bootleg version. But yeah, I can't remember. I'll have to do some digging. Yeah, I think I got that one. I think I actually have that one on Steam too as well. So it must be the first one. But again, I think it was ripped to CDs. So I don't know how it can be achieved without the disk drive. I shall see. I wonder if to be fair, I think I had the game on my old laptop, which is like full of viruses and junk now. So I might have to, I'll figure it out. I'll see what I can do. Ooh, this way. But yeah, I almost finished the whole sequel. I got to the Red Queen's Castle, which I think is like not like the main, like not the end level, but then I was watching someone stream it. I was watching Gab Smolders on YouTube play the game, and I was over at my in-laws' house and we just watched the whole thing, and I was like, well, I think I'll probably eventually play it, but I've never got past this certain point, so like, fuck it, let's just keep watching and see what happens. And I was like, ooh, look at that. So I've never actually completed the whole game, but I've seen the entire story. Look at this! Ah, it's so cute! But yeah, I have, there's a company as well that did like a manga version, but it's like a really dark, twisted, like I think even more dark and twisted than American McGee's Alice, if you could even feel like that's possible. But I forget what the company is called. But I have like the whole omnibus, which is like the entire, all of the comics and things. I've read most of them, not all of them, but again, they take a very like twisted dark turn. And then I also have a comic book called Hatter M, which I've not read. I've read a horror novel genre called Alice, and there was a sequel called The Red Queen, but The Red Queen's not as good. But again, all very like, a lot of people have taken Alice in Wonderland into a dark and twisted place, which fair. I can see why they would have done that and why they would have made it like such a scary place as opposed to like a wacky, silly place. But yeah, a lot of the counter Alice stuff I've consumed has been quite dark. Yeah, look at that. Chef's kiss, eh? Clap, clap. Excellent. Cuteness. We do have some little stringy strands, but honestly, I'm not that mad about it. And again, from a distance, you won't even be able to tell. So we'll pop that on our little bookshelf and move on to the next one, which I believe is the clock. There we go. Let's check mark. Check the display case off the list. And now it's the clock, which again requires more of this stuff. I don't think we actually need this piece of paper anymore, so we might be able to get away with using that for scrap, because I think it was, you cut the template out in order to cut this out without like getting color on this bad boy here. So I think that's why you do it. Okay, glue is shown. Make sure we actually glue it the right way up. Alright, what's next? So Nunda, you said you're working on a quilt. What color palette, what pattern is it? If you have any pictures or links or anything, drop them in the chat or on Discord. I'd love to see it. My mom actually, when we were here, I'll have to show you guys one time. There was a kit. There's this woman who makes quilting fabrics called Tula Pink, and she actually released an Alice in Wonderland line with a quilt kit with all of the fabrics. So last year, or no, the year before, when my parents came over, we worked on it together, and my mom finished it and submitted it into her like Quilt Guild's craft show. But I have it now, and it's really cool. It has like all these different hats and things on it. It has hats, it has like teacups, it has a little rabbit and a little hare. Yeah, really cool. Okay, glue that. And then we're gluing the gold bead on. We gotta remove the transparent films. Yeah, oh, so you do know Tilla Pink, absolutely. Yeah, I think my mom also made a little quilt. She makes these really cool, like a lot of really bright, vibrant stuff. I can see you really liking them, Nunde. Really bright pinks and purples and greens and things. So my mom made a little quilt with like a skunk pattern on it. One of the fabric pieces was full of skunks, which she thought was really cute. But yeah, I couldn't, fabric would be like, like I'm sure you might probably have this problem, but that's something that I think my mom and my grandma and my aunt, all the quilters in my life, struggle with, and I don't have a big enough space for it, is like there's so much cute fabric out there, whether it's for clothes, whether it's for quilts. Like I could easily, like Pokemon, want to acquire them all, but you need a big ass room for all that fabric. Whereas, acquiring all the DMC cross-stitching colors is a lot smaller. I can make pretty patterns as opposed to buying fabric with pretty patterns. But sometimes, man, I'm a sucker for visually appealing things. So, come on, let's get this transparent film off. Almost got it. Oh, really? That's amazing. Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, fat quarters aren't too bad. Have you, like, made a deal with yourself that you're like, it's only, like, the fabric can only fit in this cube. If it goes over, that's it. You have to cut yourself off. Sometimes if you're like, I have this space, and this is the space for this stuff, and so if it exceeds this space, I cannot procure it. Hopefully we can, because this is just like a flat transparent. I don't really want all these glue lines to be seen. So I think we need to be very delicate in our application. But also work quickly so this stuff doesn't dry. Oh dear. Yeah, because I don't want that to happen. Hopefully. Fabric. They're for active projects. That's fair. Okay, we will allow it. So the fabric is in different places, but only because they are actively projects. I respect that. Oh, that's really frustrating. Has it been really stormy and stuff where you are? Because the weather here has been absolutely miserable. I don't know if that usually, like, impacts it and stuff. Sometimes that can be a problem. Okay. Perfect. That's on there. Okay. Next step. Actually, here, we'll save that because we might need that for things. This is the quilt you're making. Let me see. Oh, it's called Go Big or Go Home. Oh, that's really cute. What's the final size gonna be? 64 inch. Oh yeah, like a great lap quilt. Oh, that's awesome. That's gonna be so cool. Are you using a kit? Like, did all of those fabric pieces come with it, or are you doing your own fabric for it? Because sometimes it's like the kits are really good, but sometimes you're like, no, I want to use a different color scheme. You know what I mean? Either way, I think it will look really cool. Okay, now we have to do the scary bit where we put the teeny tiny bead in the center. Oh, what kind of quilt do you have to make, Kat? You've changed the blue to pink. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's gonna look awesome. And that totally makes sense to me why you've changed the blue to pink. Absolutely. Oh yes, the puffy quilt. I remember you mentioning the quilt. Absolutely. Yeah, geez, girl, get on that. Only because I just want to see updates. I just want all of you guys to craft all the time so you can post photos of your crafts and I can look at them and just be so in awe of how talented you all are. That's all I want. Oh. I know. Did we lose it? Is it gone forever? Probably. I heard it. I distinctly heard it fall, but I don't know where. Luckily, I do think they gave us extra beads, probably for this exact reason. Ooh, right. I forgot you're doing a snitch. That's gonna be so cool. All right, let us find the wayward stash of extra beads. There we go. Let's try this again and hope that that bead will turn up eventually. If not, it's all good. It happens. To be fair, I think I actually have like some beads in my bead stash that are this color, so we might be able to just steal from that if we need to. Okay. Before we were so rudely interrupted by me holding onto this bead too tight, let's try again. Very carefully. Okay. Steady. Oh no! Listen, you piece of trash. Hopefully there's still enough glue on it. Oh no! Okay, it's fine. It was dry. Anytime there's like crazy glue strands, I'm like, ah! It's all good though. Cool. Let that dry. Here is our clock, complete with shiny transparency and little golden bead in the center. Cool. Geez, we're just pumping through these now. Okay, what's next? On to the next, on to the next. Ooh, the door plate. Should be simple enough. Okay. So, let us regroup. So we've got cubes, clock, display case, and street lamp. So now, those are today's builds. The last week's builds we've seen. So those are these builds. We'll pop those over here. So next is, let's get some of this glue out of here. The door plate. So we're finally back to a larger piece of the puzzle. We ran out of tea. Time to switch to water. I hope that bead turns up. Oh well, it could be lost forever and that's fine. Okay. Door plate should be fairly straightforward. It is the name of the shop. This board here. And then there's a little frame for it. And then little stand pieces. So that's gonna be the top of our storefront here. That's what we're creating now. We just created, what was it? There's where the teacup display is going. These are the cubes and the clock are going there. The street lamp, I think, is on the other side here. There's like an entrance to the shop and the street lamp is outside of that entrance. Gluing this within the template and then framing it and popping stuff on top. Seems easy enough. No, no, could you imagine? They do have other, like, witchy sort of stuff. But yes, no, my occult bookstore in The Sims. This is not that. Though there is a, another, kit in this series that's meant to be, like, a magic wand, like, store. It's meant to, I think it's actually inspired by Kiki's Delivery Service, kind of, because it's called, like, Kiki's Magic Store or something. So no, we are doing Mythical Tea Calf, though I wish this place existed in real life. There kind of is. You know what? There's actually one down on the Kent coast in Herne Bay called, I don't know if it's called, I think it's called Alice and the Hatter, and it actually is an Alice in Wonderland themed restaurant, and you can do Alice in Wonderland themed afternoon tea there. It's really, really cute. It's like right on like the Herne Bay coast, so it's very cool. Highly recommend. They also do gluten-free if that's something you need. Have you seen through a looking glass? Honestly, it's so true. Some of these pieces, man. Okay. Yeah, it's really cute. I've also been to Oxford, which is where Lewis Carroll was like a professor, and they have a lot of like Alice in Wonderland themed things. They have like an Alice shop and things like that. Yeah, you don't want to be late. You need to jet off. Quick, take the mini pocket watch so you keep track of time. As always, thank you for stopping by, and I hope your stream goes well. Ooh, ooh. Oh, these are giving me a little bit of grief. Why is that? Thank you very much. I will see you soon. If not this Sunday. If not before that. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. 8 p.m. over on Saul's channel. Hello, goodbye. I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. This made me want to rewatch Alice in Wonderland. The cartoon version. I don't mind the first Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland, because, you know, usually I'm a big old sucker for Tim Burton. I like most Tim Burton things. Love me some Beetlejuice. I really enjoyed Wednesday. You know, quite on the Burton train. But the second... To be fair, he didn't direct the second Alice in Wonderland, but he directed the first one. Live action one. And it's alright. It's alright. I feel like for most people, the like Johnny Depp Mad Hatter is like everyone's most iconic one. But I don't really care for him. And then yeah, the second film, which I know wasn't directed by him. Yeah, the first one's not bad. I don't mind the first one. The second one just felt completely unnecessary. Though Pink's song that she recorded for the soundtrack, Just Like Fire, is a bop. Yeah, the other, I got so mad because the only the only thing that made sense to call it Through the Looking Glass, like that that's the only thing that was in common with it, was that the name. Because even to the first adaptation, the Tim Burton version, they took a lot of components from Alice's Adventure, or from Alice Through the Looking Glass, that all the components from the second film, like, they just were grasping at straws. Because, like, the chess match in the first one, that's from Through the Looking Glass. The Red and White Queen, that's from Through the Looking Glass. Even the Tweedles, that's also from Through the Looking Glass. In the first Alice's Adventures, Tweedledee and Tweedledum don't actually appear. It's only because people associate them appearing because of the cartoon Disney version, which is also an amalgamation of components from both books, that the Tweedles were included in that one. So it just was really frustrating. I remember I went to go see it with two of my friends, and I remember being enraged afterwards. And they were like, well, what do you expect? Like, you know, film adaptations are never like the books fully. And I'm like, yeah, but there's usually something. They usually give you something, but this gave us nothing. And the stupid vegetable people made me so angry. I was like, what is your purpose? You don't need to be here. But yes, the song was a bop. Yeah, that always sucks too when you see something. That's why I can't watch Breaking Bad. Even Liam was like, oh, that's one of like the best shows I've ever watched. And everyone's like, oh, it's so critically acclaimed. But that was like my show with an ex. It was like, that's going to be our show that we watched together. And then we broke up and I was like, I don't give a shit about Breaking Bad. So I totally get the sentiment. I'll probably never watch Breaking Bad. Because also I feel like the moment is past. You know what I mean? Like the cultural impact of it is gone now. And also I absolutely hated Skylar, Walter White's wife, that every time she was on screen, I was just enraged. So it made it difficult to watch for that reason as well. And then, you know, my ex dumped me and I was like, fuck Breaking Bad. Attach this. Closing problems. Okay. I'm just gonna stick these on here and line them up just to make sure they fit. First. The other thing too, again, because that Pink song was really good, but the one thing I thought was really cool about the first film is they then also released this soundtrack. It wasn't the official film soundtrack. It was called Almost Alice, and it was like they got a bunch of artists, like I don't even know who's on it. I think they got like All American, a lot of like pop punk artists to record songs inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and the album's really cool. I don't know if you guys remember when Tokyo Hotel was a big thing, so they have a song on there. All American Rejects have a song on there. Obviously they have the like Avril Lavigne song that was on the soundtrack at the end, but they have all these other really interesting artists and songs, so that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. So if you've never seen it, if you find, I don't know if all of the songs are available on Spotify. I think some of them aren't, but I think it was Almost Alice is the name of the album. Let me see. Yeah, Avril, All American Rejects, Owl City, sorry. Yeah, it's annoying. The Tokyo Hotel version isn't available on Spotify. Shine Down, All Time Low, Metro Station. You guys remember Metro Station? When did this come out? 2010. I didn't think Metro Station was still together at the time. 303 has a song too. Like, honestly, there's a lot of really cool bops on here. So I do recommend that. It's a really cool compilation album of like pop rock stuff. And like pop punk stuff. But yeah, the Tokyo Hotel song's really good, so it's a shame that that's not on the spoofies. It's annoying that these are kind of two different sizes, but no matter. Okay, now we need to glue the top pieces on. I think it might be snack break time soon. We got our food delivery, so I finally have granola bars back in stock, which is excellent. Because granola bars for me are life. I don't think, yeah, I didn't bring up the glue high enough. There we go. There we go. And do the other one. Let everything nice. Went to grocery if I spent too much. But now I have fresh fruit for the week. No more crappy apples. Yeah. Oh, you were having real bad luck with the apples lately. Did you get other fruits, or do you just have apples and you're gonna eat them fast enough so they don't turn into the crappy apples? That's always the problem sometimes, I think, with like places like Costco when you buy in bulk. So you have like 15 apples and it's like they don't last that long. You think there's a bad batch. That's fair. I feel like that probably happens. Okay, make sure you are lined up. I believe so. Just want to make sure that everything is chilling, hunky-dory. It was 3 pounds of cheese. That's incredible. Oh my goodness, that sounds like heaven. So much cheese. Oh my god, is that a love cheese emote? That's incredible, Nogay. I love that. A cheese emote, incredible. Strawberries, blackberries, apples, and grapes. That's awesome. What kind of grapes do you like? Are you like a red grape and a green grape? I'm usually like a red grape person. I find green grapes too sour sometimes. But every once in a while, I get a good green grape. Green grape. Try saying that multiple times fast. Green grape, green grape, green grape, green grape. Okay, there we go. Easy peasy. Tea shop store. Make red ones. Those look like little fingers. Oh, I don't know if I've experienced those ones before. I always forget that there's so many different varieties of grapes. Like similar to apples, you know what I mean? Do those ones, do the finger ones have seeds in them, or can you get like seedless versions of them? They're called witch finger. Oh, interesting. Yeah, they're like really, really dark. That's cool. Speaking of snacks. Time to open the granola bar. We'll get out this next bit of stuff, which is all these like little ornaments. All these teeny tiny ornaments, more little beads and stuff for me to lose. Grab this frame, which is gorgeous. This little thing here. This sign. I'm gonna leave the 2 beads in the bag until we absolutely need them. And this teapot. That's the little picture that goes in the sign. Here's the little signage for that one. These are little cards that go on these guys. The beads will also go on that guy as well. And these teeny tiny little there you go. Be easier to see them this way. And yes, the beads will stay in the bag until we absolutely need them. Okay, let's work on this guy first. I assume. Let's make sure these are the right sizes first. Like that. Okay. I think we'll do one at a time. I'll put the glue on the actual teapot, and then hopefully that'll make it easier to place the paper. Okay, first little decoration. Geez, even zoomed in, these are still teeny tiny. Let's see, there's the first little bit of the teapot. Not bad, not bad. I do feel like we have made many a tiny thing so far. I'm excited to finally like start decorating with all these pieces, but I respect that we need to actually create the components before everything starts coming together. But I'm like, I want to stick the stuff on the thing. Okay. First one, done. Second one. Guess it's meant, yeah, there's meant to kind of be like a border around it. Okay. Do the same thing. Put the glue on the thing. Hope that it works. Well, that's weird. The song just like suddenly stopped. Okay. Here we go. All right. Little drink me sign is complete. So we have 2 ornaments done. I think we'll do this guy next because this little guy here requires the beads and some stuff. So I think we'll do these first. And then we'll... Okay, so we're supposed to just glue along the lines. Okay, cool. So this one is glue on the actual paper. Put the thingy on top. At least it's not it's not like a transparent, so I don't have to worry about the glue sort of splooshing out and looking weird, but I still want to not have it be crazy messy. Whoop, that was a lot. Also, okay, let's move that because I don't want to accidentally. Ah! Listen. Trying not to glue the thing to the thing. Glue the paper to the. There. Hopefully. Centered enough. If not, I feel like it's already dry, so the moment to change that has passed. I think it looks fine. Okay. Okay, so now this one. Let's get rid of some of the glue that's on here. Okay, so we need to actually cut extra board as shown. Yeah. So we actually need to sever this section here. There isn't like actual cut lines on it though, so hopefully this doesn't end up being so super janky, but we'll find out. we go. Easy enough. Now, hopefully, I'm gonna still keep it, because who knows? I feel like this kit's gonna be like, use the tiny little gold nub that you cut from the other thing to glue something else. So we will keep it on standby, just in case. Okay, now glue the little cards either side, and also stick a bead either side as well. Okay. Oh no. That moved while I was sticking the other one on. Damn it. It's okay. I think we managed to move it back. That's annoying. Also got a bit of glue on the paper, which is also annoying. Looks like we can just kind of scratch it off though. It's fine, everything is fine. You can just start a whole new project. But you hate doing business licenses, so I understand why you are doing this. But you're right, you do need to get down to business on the business license. But I do the same thing, where I'm like, here's a task I don't want to do. Let me do all these other little tasks that aren't the priority, but I would rather be doing those. Yeah, so it's still something that needed to get done. I get it just wasn't the main priority. Okay. Now, place your bets. Are we yeeting more teeny tiny beads out into the ether today? I hope not. Now I think, because I don't want to put this down, we might try the glue on here method. That's a lot of glue. And then stick the bead on and hope for the best. Wait for it to dry before you start faffing with that. Okay, I feel like we should fully wait for this to dry before we attempt to flip it over and install the next one. But also, do I kind of low-key not give a crap and am impatient? I shall have to see vote no yeets. I appreciate that, Kay. You were like, we're gonna think positively. And for that, I appreciate you. About this extra glue blob. Okay. First bead. No yeetage has occurred. Let's hope it goes just as well for this one. I think this bead is much larger than this one. Sort of, kind of, maybe. I think we can move this guy down a smidge. Okay. Whew! I'm not sure. It's the glue that came with the kit, so I don't know if it lists anywhere what kind of glue it is. It's weird though, because I feel like it dries really quickly, but it also like leaves sort of like hot glue strings, even though it's a liquid, you know what I mean? So I'm not entirely, it just says liquid glue. Yeah. I wonder if it indicates anywhere. Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Liquid glue that has stringies. Yeah, it's a Rolife kit, so I don't know if maybe if you go through the Rolife website, if they would then indicate to you what sort of ones that they use. I'm not sure. Alright, all of the teeny tiny things have been created. I'm a little bit worried about this. Maybe I can like lean it against something so that the beads can fully dry. Okay, we'll do that. We have all the teeny tiny things. Oh shit, it's all good. I know. Okay. Okay. Next one. Next is this rabbit, which I'm basically just meant to make like a little ruffle for it. So we'll see how that goes. I need to hold on to this bag though, because it has the thingy for the street lamp on it. Okay. So apparently we need to cut 14 millimeters by 80 millimeters. So this itself is already 80, so that's cool. So we're meant to do 14 millimeters, which is like 1 centimeter plus a bit, right? Yeah, because that's 10, 13, 14. And we're meant to make 2 of them. And then another one. Same thing. And then we just pray that we, you know, when you cut things and you don't know if you should be cutting like on the inside of the line or the outside of the line. Also, I feel like the black is gonna really show up, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Ah, that's fine. It's all good. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, it might be that we have to make some adjustments. And then after we do this, we need to make sure it's 157 centimeters. So I guess that determines where we glue it. And it said butter paper. And so I don't actually know what butter paper is, but I assume that that's what this is. Oh, you know what? It literally just dawned on me. I think what they mean is, you know, that kind of paper that when you buy butter, there's like that weird kind of translucent paper that goes on top of it under the container. That must be what this is. And that's why it's called butter paper. But I was like, I don't know what butter paper is, but there's this piece of paper in here that's not like the other pieces. So I assume this is what it is. But it just dawned on me that that's probably why they're calling it butter paper. I wonder if it actually has a different name. Or it's just literally butter paper. I'll stick this back in here. Right. Oh, okay. So it is. It's just like baking paper. Okay. So we need the total length of this to be 157 millimeters, which is such a random number. 15.7 centimeters. So there's 15. Ooh. .7. So let me just put a little dot. Actually, should I just glue it now that I have everything lined up so we know? Like parchment's something better. Interesting. Yeah, because this feels like a little bit different than like your traditional sort of parchment, but they must have different kinds. Interesting. Okay. I know this is happening off camera, but this is where my lines are, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay. Yeah, is that, yeah, sort of, kind of, maybe. Okay. Here is our paper. And now we have to fold it at every 3 millimeters to make like a little accordion. Jeez, okay. Wait till this is drier. So every 3 millimeters, we need to fold it. Yeah, right? Honestly, Kate, that's how I feel. I'm like, how are we doing this? I guess. Need like a thick piece of card, maybe. Just something that I can use to help me fold it. I have bits in here that I think are scrap, but I'm holding on to them in case they're not. So I'm wondering if I can use this to help. Or if we just mark them all and then I just try my best. Okay. So every 3 millimeters. Make sure this is straight. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Dear God. Oh, geez. Was this the one that you were having trouble with on Friday as well? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. Oh, Jesus, you guys. Look at this thrilling content. Marking out. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They must not have all of their accesses sorted. One, two, three. I hope this rabbit appreciates how much effort we're putting in to make him a frilly ass collar. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Jesus, it sounds rough out there. 3, 1, 2, 3. Who knew that what was gonna take the longest Who's gonna be folding this nonsense? Huh. Okay. Now we must do the tiny folds. I hope the glue is dry enough on this. There's gonna be tiny bits of black all over this. Wait for this to dry, or at least find a way to. Oh well, we just have to do our best. We'll find out how long it takes to make teeny tiny accordion folds. We'll see who will finish first. Will Kat regain her admin rights to this credit website, or will Tasha finish accordion folding this teeny tiny collar for a rabbit? Which will happen faster? The race is honestly. Place your bets. So much concentration. I'm sure this is the most stimulating of activities. Okay. Like, I'm sure it's gonna look really cool when it's done, but goddamn. I also probably should have used pencil to outline all of this, so then we weren't gonna be left with like little black lines all over the place. But listen, we didn't think that through, and that's fine. It's all right. He just has, you know, little decorative notches in his collar. What's after this? Okay, broom. Just wondering, I'm like, is this gonna be what? I'm like, we better not end stream with this. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We have like 15 minutes. If I'm still folding this in 15 minutes, send help. Using the 3mm plot a little bit. Let's try to gain this back. I knew. How did that happen? Okay. That's basically what I was. Honestly, truly. If you've ever wanted to test your patience, try folding butter paper into teeny tiny little accordions. Yeah, I wish I could off with his head. Could you imagine? Off with your head, rabbit! For your crime is making me fold you a tiny little neck piece for too long. So I am slowly going crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch. Crazy, slowly going. Am I? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, switch. I am slowly going crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, switch. Crazy, slowly going. Am I? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, switch. Did you guys ever do that? Jesus. Okay. Surely. Why is this getting more difficult the further along we get? Riddle me this. I remember girls in my elementary school doing it. I don't know. And then you would just like say it faster and faster until you like messed it up. My fingers are too big for this. My partner's gonna come home and be like, what'd you do today? And I'd be like, fold crepe paper. So tiny. Such anguish. Okay. We're almost done. Okay. Now what? Now, apparently, we are meant to make a teeny tiny collar. What? This is like a spring. This is gonna... Oh dear. So these math. Okay, so my groceries of the day. 39506. And now subtract 20k, multiply that by 0.001, and then add another. See, I start reading numbers and my brain automatically glazes over, so I can't even imagine the sort of stuff you have to do. It's like I read the first number and I could already feel my brain switching off. Oh, jeez. I don't envy you at all. Yours does too, LOL. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that sounds like some shenanigans. Okay. What is also some shenanigans is how in the F am I supposed to make this into a collar? I wonder if the best bet would be to like glue this in this sort of a shape first, or if I should stick it to him first. Yeah, this is gonna take the whole 15 minutes, I guess. Okay. Or look at how is this meant to look? Okay. So maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So we need to glue this down first. And secure it. And then once that's dry, do the other bit. The question is, where is our center point? I guess in the center of his neck? Okay. Okay. Oh no! Oh geez, all the finance troubles over here. Okay. We're gonna stick this here. Okay. And I do think in order for this to work and not drive me insane, we do need to have this side dry first. And just hope for the best that this ends up not looking insane afterwards. Okay. So we might not get to the broom, but we've done quite a bit. So I'm most excited for the dessert stand because we gotta cut the little polymer clay into little pieces. That's what I mean. So it's meant to be flat. It's only meant to go on the front. So we have to make this design happen here and like sync it up this way. But I don't know how we're gonna do it without this looking insane. This feels too long. Like, did I mismeasure? Am I a dum-dum? I think they made this way too big for what it's meant to be. I think we could get away with like half the amount. We might have to make the executive decision to make this smaller. Because also, by the time it curves around, it's like way too big. It's gonna look massive. Yeah. It's like against the corner. So it's just on the front. So I feel like this is too much. Look, Shadow's starting to whine. That means he's also upset by this. He's like, this is some garbage, Mom. And I would be like, I agree, Shadow. Because if we... Jeez. Shadow. I hear you. Like, that's where it would go. And that doesn't make any sense. So we're gonna make the executive decision to cut at least this much off. And we'll go from there. See, that is more manageable. That we can do. Even still, though, that even seems a bit... There. I'm gonna go with that. Yeah. And then that way. There. Yeah. See, that seems alright. That seems like it makes sense-ish. Because it just seems like it would be way too long otherwise. There we go. Executive decision made, friends. Okay. Now is the tricky part of making sure that this part glues down where we need it to. Seems a little too big, but whatever. Fuck it. We've done it. Shit. Okay. We'll just hold it here and hope for the best. think this is the first part of the thing that I'm like, this is some garbage. This is some bull shrimp right here. Yeah, like this. There. Sorta, kinda. Oh, hello. Shadow has entered the chat. So are you gonna try to steal that stuff? Shadow, you cannot have it. It's garbage. Hello. Oh. Wanna say hi to everyone? Say hello. Did you have a nice sleep? Yeah? Hi. You can let me finish up. Yeah, I'm almost done. It's like, what are all these things? Yeah, I think it would have been too much. That was like so much paper. I must have mismeasured. I feel like I have done that before in the past. But we're just gonna ignore that. Are you telling me it's time to hurry up? Yeah? You're like, Mom, say goodbye to the peoples. Is that what you're saying? Well, as much as I didn't want to, end on the rabbit, we got a lot done today. So I'm not mad about it. Let us review. Let us review all of the tiny creations so far, starting with on the Friday. So, chest of drawers. I keep calling it a chest of drawers. It's a cabinet. You finished before I got admin rights back. Brr, 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 brr. I am the winner. It got a bit hairy there for a second. We didn't know if that was going to be the case. So, here we go. Display cabinet. Cute little table. We've made some cubes. Or some dice. Also cubes. Die cubes. I heard the whininess. That's so funny. You're like, which one is mine? Nope, it's this guy over here. Yeah, so we did that. Okay, what did we do after this? We made the little lamp post, the little street light. That is also that. Our little teacup display case. Super cute. Oh, our clock. We made our clock today as well. Also very nice. And then our little decorations. So we have our little lamp, or not a lamp, little picture frame, our little drink me sign. This little doohickey here. Our little teapot. Our storefront, our little shop sign. And the finishing touch, Mr. Rabbit. So here's all, this is little gang, little miniature gang so far. So we will continue this adventure on Thursday. I'm having a lot of fun, guys. Even though, I was bitching and moaning about this little crepe collar, I'm quite pleased with how it's going. And so I appreciate you guys all hanging out with me while this is happening. Let's go see which of our friends are online and go give them some love. If anyone has any raid suggestions as well, I'm always open to them. So yeah, next stream, so Thursday, we have a broom, a little lamp, some ornaments, and the dessert stand, which I am the most excited for. I think the dessert stand is gonna be so cool. Artemis is online. Betsy paints. Ooh, we've got a few friends. I wonder what they're doing. Let's go see Betsy paints. She looks like she's working on some visual, some art, some pastel-y looking stuff. It looks really cool. Let's go do that then. I'll give you guys. Ha, live like it. Thank you. Yes. You too can make teeny tiny little creations one day. Copy. Let's go see Betsy. Start the raid. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Let's raid.